1. A lone worker was finishing up his shift late at night. The only sounds around him were the usual hums and creaks of the quiet building. As he moved through the space, the silence began to feel heavier, almost oppressive. Then, out of nowhere, a faint sound caught his attention. A low, mournful lament, barely audible, but unmistakable.
Sí, que el tío, el monkey, no existe. Pero mi gente, sí existe. Yo he estado durante muchos años en la mina y siempre he querido encontrarme, pero nunca tuve esa oportunidad. Pero tengo esa fe de que sí me voy a encontrar, mi gente. Cayó piedra. ¿La escucharon? ¡Qué miedo! ¿Escucharon? ¡Qué miedo!
At first, he thought it might have been his imagination, the result of exhaustion playing tricks on his mind. But as he paused to listen, the sound came again, clearer this time. It was as though someone somewhere was crying softly, the sorrow in the voice unmistakable. A man was walking near a petrol station late at night when something unusual caught his eye. The station itself was dimly lit. As he glanced further down the road, something in the distance seemed to move, a white shadow, faint but noticeable, shifting against the black backdrop of the empty street. At first, he thought it might have been a trick of the light, perhaps a reflection from a passing car or the glow from the station. But as he stared, the figure seemed to take on a more defined shape, subtly moving in a way that didn't seem natural. It was too far away to make out clearly, but it was definitely moving, slowly, almost gliding across the dark pavement. A couple had been hearing strange noises coming from their basement for days. The soft creaking and occasional thumps unnerved them, but they'd brushed it off as the house settling. One evening, however, the sounds grew louder and more distinct, like something, or someone, was down there. Determined to get to the bottom of it, they decided to investigate, bringing a camera along to document whatever they might find.
Jézusom, mennyi.
Hol lesz a budu baba? Eltűnt.
De madzag még itt van.
Nem tudom, hogy ti láttátok a videón, de...
Suddenly, the camera caught movement. A swift, subtle shift. Something darting behind the cabinet, just out of sight. The couple gasped and froze, unsure of what they had just seen. After reviewing the footage, they believe it to be a possible skinwalker. The crew from Simply Saraf reached the edge of a remote, secluded village, notorious for its unsettling atmosphere and long-standing ghost stories that had been passed down for generations.
அவ்வளோதான் இல்லை ஆமாண்ணா யார் மேலே எதுவும் இருக்கா தெரியுதா உங்களுக்கு கைஸ் பாருங்க நீ பாதி நான் பாதி கண்ணா சவுண்ட்லாம் கேட்குதுன்னா முட்டா இந்த இடத்துல உங்களை நிறைய பேர் பார்த்ததா சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க. அதனால தான் நாங்களும் உங்களை பார்க்கலான்னு வந்திருக்கோம். ஒருவேளை நீங்கள் இருந்தீங்கன்னா எங்களுக்கு ஏதாச்சும் அறிகுறி தர முடியுமா? அந்த ஜன்னல் ஜன்னல் ஜன்னல்
இந்த விண்டோ தான் ஆச்சுல. இந்த விண்டோ வர சொல்லணும். இது
நீங்க தான் இப்போ விண்டோவை தட்டினீங்களா? ஒரு கோடு போட முடியுமா? இப்போ நான் தொடர்ந்து உங்ககிட்ட சில கேள்விகள் கேட்க போறேன். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு கோடு போட்டு இதை ஆரம்பிக்கலாமா நம்ம?
As they began exploring, they heard strange knocks. Following it, they began a ritual to call upon any spirit, and just then a black figure appeared behind them.
என்னடா இது?
இங்க பாருண்ணா, கூடிய வெளி வரலுக்கு குத்திருச்சுனா.
என்ன உடைஞ்சு போச்சு ராகுல்? என்னடா ஏன்டா அவ்வளவு ஃபோர்ஸா குத்துற போட்ட?
நான் அதுவும் குத்தவே தெரியாது. நீங்க பாருங்க. நான் பாருங்க, இங்க பாரு. குத்துறது பத்தி பேசனாலே அணையுது எல்லாமே.
டேய் ராகுல், அந்த மாதிரி தப்பா பேசாதடா. டேய்
தப்பா பேசறேன். ஐயோ, நான் இருக்கறத பேசறேன். நான் தப்பா கன்வே ஆகுதுண்ணா. நான் இருக்கறத பேசுறேன். நீங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் क्वेश्चन கேட்டதுக்கு ஆமான்னு வந்துச்சு. நீங்க கேட்டீங்க, நீங்க இருக்கீங்களா கேட்டீங்க, ஆமா வந்துச்சு. வளர்ந்த காடு நல்லா வளர்ந்து போயிருக்கு. நல்லா செடி மரமா கொடி மரமா வளர்ந்து போயிருக்கு.
ஐயோ, கத்துறானே ராகுல்.
யாரு?
வாய்ஸே கேட்கல. இன்னும் கொஞ்ச நேரம் வெயிட் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம் கைஸ்.
யாரு?
Lastly, the figure appeared again, and then one of the investigators was pulled by unseen force. It's then when they decided to end this exploration. A woman had a large, life-size doll sitting on a chair in her home. It was a peculiar doll, with a hauntingly human-like appearance. She had inherited it from a relative, but ever since the doll had been placed in her home, strange occurrences began to unfold. One night, the unsettling events escalated. The woman, feeling uneasy, decided to set up her phone to record the room where the doll sat. Suddenly, the door to the room creaked ominously and slowly closed on its own. The woman, now alert, quickly rushed to check what was happening. As she entered the room, everything seemed still. However, something caught her eye in the reflection of the mirror. She glanced at the reflection. There in the glass, the puppet's hand had subtly shifted. It was barely noticeable, but she was certain it had moved. A worker at a small shop was going through her usual routine when something strange caught her eye. The motion-activated door, which only opened when someone entered, suddenly swung open on its own. Startled, She glanced around the empty store, expecting to see a customer. But there was no one. A Russian explorer ventured deep into the heart of a decaying, abandoned house rumored to be haunted. The house, long forgotten by time, sat in a remote village, its wooden beams sagging and walls covered in peeling wallpaper. Locals whispered about the eerie occurrences inside, strange sounds, disembodied voices, and shadowy figures glimpsed through broken windows.
Почему они тебя здесь держат?
Они помогали мне.
Они знают, что я здесь нахожусь.
Ты с нами разговариваешь. Мы пришли.
At first, from the speaker, strange voices came through to warn him, and then suddenly he noticed a movement past him. Suddenly, all the furniture began to move on its own. Lastly, he captured a possible shadow before the ceiling of basement gave away. A young man was startled awake in the dead of night by a strange, eerie whistling sound coming from downstairs. It was soft but persistent, and completely out of place for the stillness of the house. Nervously, he shook his grandfather awake, whispering about the odd noise. His grandfather, though skeptical at first, decided to investigate.
Cálmate.
Estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase su voluntad. ¡Ay! ¡Abuelo! ¡Ay! ¡Ábrele, a ver quién es! ¡Ábrele!
No pasa nada.
¡Ay, abuelo!
No hay nada.
A ver, ve, fíjate. ¡Ay! ¡Otra vez, abuelo! ¡Es un pinche mono! ¡Abuelo! ¡Ciérrale! ¡Llámale a la policía! ¡Saca tu teléfono!
Calmado.
Together, they crept towards the staircase, the whistling growing slightly louder with each step. As they peered down the stairs, a dark, shadowy head was peeking from the base of the stairs. Its features were indistinguishable, shrouded in black, but its presence was unmistakably unsettling. As a man prepared to close up his store for the night, the usual silence was interrupted by strange, faint noises coming from somewhere within the aisles. Curious and unnerved, he pulled out his phone and began recording, unsure of what he might find. As he slowly panned his camera across the dimly lit store, something caught his eye. Just for a brief second, a small child darted quickly behind one of the shelves. His heart raced. He immediately rushed over to the spot, expecting to find the child hiding. But as he searched between the aisles and behind the shelves, there was no sign of anyone. Subscribe Top 5 Ghost for more scary content.